The slideshow I will be referencing for this video is also available in the description. Feel free to use the timestamp there to skip to whatever sections you need. I also have a Google Sheets in the description with all the successful team clears I have seen so far, with video links where available. While I try to leave helpful tips in my endgame clears here and there, this is my first dedicated video series of this kind, so let me know if you have any feedback or would like to see something similar for future endgame content. With that out of the way, let's begin. Alright, now that we've covered the boss HP and toughness mechanics, let's take a look at the buffs we have to work with. Victorious by Wit is almost exclusively designed for the Herta. Getting 1.5 attack percent main stat pieces on your whole team for free is pretty ridiculous and fits right in with their new DPS shilling if I'm being honest. Feats of Might is the generic buff most teams will be using, and although only specific units like Argenti, Yunli, and Clara can make use of the 50% physical damage bonus, everyone appreciates having 50% effect res to deal with Scarabaz's entanglement. If you have Aventurine, then this turns into 100% effect res for the whole team, aka full debuff immunity. I'll go over this in more detail in the CC section. Hunter Stride is made for break DPS, especially those with AoE breaks. If you can break all 4 stings at once, you can get as much as an 80% action advance. Paired with Fugue, this can be as much as 160% per wave. Some strategies like certain Acheron comps can also attempt to leverage this buff, but then that means dealing with the crowd control RNG that comes with not having 50% effect res. So outside of dedicated break teams, pick at your own risk. Once Scarabaz's weakness broken, all teams will fully refund their SP and ults. This greatly benefits characters with high ult costs, consumes lots of SP, or characters with advance forward in their ultimates. I wonder who fits all of these descriptions. Surely it isn't a coincidence that Dance Dance Dance, which advances the whole team forward when you use your ult, is also on Raid Up Next banner. Anyways, I digress. Before rushing into the best team choice for this stage though, let's figure out how to survive. Going forward, the enemy HP damage listed is assuming your squishy level 80 DPS or support gets hit. Tanks will take considerably less damage, sometimes up to 2 to 3 times less. To start, Scarabaz has 158.4 speed. That means unless you build your supports to 160 speed or have an action advance in your DPS kit, it will be constantly outspeeding you. Additionally, after breaking it, you have a 150 AV window to deal as much damage to it as possible. In other words, a 0 cycle's worth of time. Note that you can extend this time as long as you can keep Scarabaz broken. Think of Ranmei's ult delay and CCs like Imprison and Freeze. Nostings are slightly slower with a speed of 145.2. They always perform single target attacks for about 500 HP and prioritize attacking entangled characters, adding an extra entanglement stack up to the max of 5. However, Scarabaz like to spawn most of them at 35 action value or about 285.7 speed, so unless it spawns in the middle of your team's rotation, it will usually be attacking first. Sometimes their spawn times are spaced about 20 AV apart, though I'm still not sure of the exact pattern behind this. Generally though, the more stings there are, the more likely Nostings will spawn spaced out like you see on the left. Lesser stings are always spawned 46 AV in, and explode one character and adjacent characters for 800 HP and inflicting outrage 77 AV after their first turn. This means you have a total of 123 AV, or 81 speed, to deal with them. Unless your team is 162 speed or higher, or has ways of advancing itself forward or delaying the lesser stings, this means you have about 1 team rotation to deal with each one. As for Scarabaz's attack pattern, every turn it will distribute all its stacks to the stings, and then gains 4 stacks. So if there are 4 stings and it has 4 stacks, he'll give 1 stack to each sting. Each stack give that sting 40% attack, up to 120% attack at 3 stacks. And stings also get bonus effects once they hit 3 stacks. Nostings can now entangle with their attacks, and lesser stings, well, they just explode immediately. You can remove 1 stack from Scarabaz per sting kill, but Scarabaz also gives 1 extra stack to every 3rd sting spawn, meaning that stings become dangerous every 2 turns at worst. If you're good about killing stings, this should never realistically happen, especially since lesser stings tend to explode before getting the full 3 stacks. Besides the stacks, on phase 1 he always rotates between these 2 turns. His first turn is a single target hit for about 1k damage, followed by an entanglement attack for about 1k that spawns a Nosting that attacks immediately after. His second turn is a stronger blast hit, followed by the same entanglement attack and spawn. Phase 2 is a much more dangerous 3-turn rotation. His first turn is the same, but his second turn omits the entanglement attack and spawn and gives Scarabaz 10 stacks instead. In other words, if you don't kill any stings before his third turn, at least 3 of them will be at 3 stacks, which could be run ending. And if that wasn't enough, his third turn is a massive AoE nuke that can hit your squishy characters for about 2,000 more damage. Make sure your characters are healthy enough to live this onslaught, because 1 to 2 shots are easily possible from this range. So that's the damage we gotta watch out for. How about the CC? Well, enemy entanglement delays a character's next action by 50% and disables their actions until their next turn, which is about 30 to 50% of a cycle depending on how fast your character is. Plenty of time for 2 Gnaw Stings to attack and inflict max entanglement stacks for a huge detonation on your DPS. Meanwhile, Outrage locks your character into using basics for 2 turns. Both of these debuffs have a 100% base chance to land, and since level 90 enemies have 32% effect hit rate, you need at least 24.3 effect res to even have a chance to resist getting CC'd. Luckily, we have an AS buff that gives us 50% team-wide effect res. Unfortunately, without any additional sources of F-res, the chance to get CC'd is still 66%. I don't know about you, but I'm not comfortable gambling my run on multiple 1 in 3 chances. In a pinch, you can also cleanse CCs by breaking Scarabaz, though the situation doesn't come up that often, it's good to know. My next videos will cover the best sustains, DPS, and supports to beat Scarabaz, so hope to see you there.